Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Reader Author Chat with Krystal Wade and Randi Wilson. Randi Cooley. I just went over this. Randi Cooley Wilson. Sorry we're getting a late start. Totally my fault, but we're here now. And just to get this, let's get this thing rolling. Krystal, could you introduce yourself and your current, newest, latest book that's coming out?
Hi, I'm Krystal Wade. I am sporting an awful cold, so if you hear me coughing or the frog in my throat, I apologize. However, I have a book coming out in October called Charming, and it is a young adult thriller, and it is a blending of Grimm Cinderella meets Saw. So it is a creepy retelling of Cinderella, and I'm very, very excited about it.
Randi?
Hi, I'm Randi Cooley Wilson, and I'm the author of Revelation and Restraint, which just released. It's the sequel to Revelation. It released, on the 1st? So like about a week ago. So that's it.
All right. For those of the viewers who are now for those of my viewers who are unfamiliar with either of your works, because I'm sure we have fans of Krystal's here and fans of Randi's, can you guys each describe your book's premises and what drew you to tell their stories?
Want me to go first?
Krystal, you're up.
Okay, batting first, I have Charming is a great story. I can't tell exactly what caused me to want to write it. So I was chatting with another author about plots, and she said, I need a good retelling plot. Can you help me come up with something? And I was like, sure, why not? Why don't you tell like a horror version of Cinderella? That would be really cool. She's like, oh, I don't write horror. And I said, oh, it's easy. All you need to do is this, this, and this, and this. And I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. I really like that idea. I was like, can I not give that to you? Can I have it? Can it be mine? And she's like, I told you I don't do horror. So it went from there, and then I just kind of jotted down all of the things that we had chatted about that day, and I set it aside because I was working on edits for my other book, Shattered Secrets, that released earlier this year in March, and I didn't have time to write Charming. So what I did is I just set it aside, and then it kept pestering me. I kept thinking about it more and more, and I thought about Chris Charming and Haley Tremaine, and really the story of a broken girl who, you know, like Cinderella, she's got a family who really doesn't appreciate her, and she's got Chris Charming, who seems to have everything that she doesn't. Everything that she once had, he now has, and so they're at odds with one another. And then you've got a serial killer who wants to put them together, and I can't really tell you too much more without giving so many things away, but serial killer has some ulterior motives for wanting them together. And so, yeah, I set it aside. I wrote a few lines before I finished editing Shattered Secrets, and then once I was done editing, I went to town on writing. It's my baby.
Krystal?
Hey, Randi?
Randi, oh my God. Sorry.
It's okay.
It's Randi. That was Krystal Wade who was talking about Charming. Now we're going to hear Randi Cooley Wilson talking about Restraint.
Right. It's a mouthful. It's okay. So Revelation and Restraint really came about because I was a huge fan of the paranormal romance genre, and I had read what I thought and felt like was sort of every angel, werewolf, vampire book out there, and I loved them and soaked them up, but I really wanted something different, and so I sort of took my love for architecture and my love for this genre and put it together and came up with the Revelation series, which Revelation is book 1 and Restraint, which just released, is book 2. It's new adult paranormal romance. Got all the the key elements. It's got forbidden love and a very overprotective protector who happens to be supernatural. The twist for this is that these are new characters, new worlds, and sort of new bad guys, if you will, that really haven't been explored before, and it gave me the opportunity to really explore it, and experience it in both books and throughout the entire series. So I'm hoping people will really embrace it and sort of love the new elements in a very popular genre.
Now, Krystal, fairy tale retellings have become somewhat popular over the past couple of years. What makes Charming stick out from all these other retellings, other than a horror factor?
Well, it is. I went with Grimm's version of Cinderella, so the original Cinderella, to pull my information off of. And there aren't any evil stepsisters or evil stepmothers or any of those real Disney stereotypical portions of the story. I took Haley, and she is a victim of an alcoholic, abusive father. Her mother died in a car crash. She's at odds with her sister because her sister just doesn't really know the truth about everything that Haley knows about her mother and her father's relationship, and her father doesn't treat her sister the same way. So I really pushed a family element, and I pulled away. Now it is romance. I mean, there's a slight nod. There's a romantic undertones in the story, but it's really mostly about overcoming your abusers and overcoming these people in your life who treat you horribly. And I really tried to put that message into the story, where I think a lot of the other retellings, and I don't want to knock anyone's retellings. I mean, every story is great in its own way, but I just feel like I pumped in the family values and really sticking up for yourself inside of your family and not taking the abuse. And so I put a pretty positive message in there, I hope. I hope it comes across that way, with maybe a few chopped off fingers involved as well. I have to give my dark, twisted side in every book I write, so I can't say I haven't read every single fairy tale retelling, but I think the family value and learning that family's not always blood, and friends, and anybody, even a killer, can help you overcome some issues. I know that's kind of twisted. So.
Okay, Randi, with your love of the angels and how that kind of inspired the story, is there any certain mythologies or folk tales that you use specifically to make your I want to say creatures, but paranormal stick out and make them more not much to say more yours, but more different, unique? Or how did you come about them?
Yeah, so my supernatural protectors are a completely different group of protectors. I wish I could go into it more, but for those who haven't read Revelation yet, I'm afraid I don't want to ruin it for them. But they are a completely different folklore. They're not vampire, they're not angel, they're not werewolf. What they are is something that historically is a folklore, but there's a modern twist now in this particular paranormal romance series. So yes and no.
All right. Can you both describe your, I want to say Prince Charming's, since I know Krystal has one, but Randi, I'm sure there's a Prince Charming in the Revelation and Restraint as well. Can you describe these two gentlemen?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call him Prince Charming, but Asher St. Michael is the supernatural protector who is bound to protect his charge. Her name is Eve, and Asher is the guy that you kind of love to hate. He's a bad boy at heart, but at the end of the day, he'll be for you. He's cocky. He's full of himself. He's dealing with a lot of things. What he is something that throughout history followed oaths and loyalties, and to break those is really hard and difficult. So he has to sort of, he has to sort of figure out his feelings not only for his charge, but he also has to sort of figure out how that plays into it. There is a secondary character. I don't necessarily have a love triangle, but there is a secondary character who is named Gage Gallagher. And Gage sort of likes to push buttons, and he's very manipulative, and he's very calculated, and he's very mysterious. You don't know what side he's on. You're not sure if he's there to help Eve or if he's there to, hand her over to those who want to do her harm. So there are both of those guys, and of course they're both cute and tattooed and pierced and lovely.
Tattoos, yay!
Prince Charming has to be tattooed nowadays.
Apparently. And he has to wear leather and ride motorcycles too, right?
Yes.
Or growl, or he has to growl and shift it during a full moon or something. It seems like.
Right.
But what about your charming, Krystal? What's he like?
Christopher freaking Charming is, like I said, he really is a thorn in Haley's side. But really, he's a misunderstood guy. That he has a bad reputation because he's the type of guy who feels like he has to live up to everyone else's expectations because of his father's place in business and in the town. And so he has these people at work who expect him to be a great worker, but then these kids at school who expect him to kind of be a troublemaker. And so they'll spread rumors about him, and he just never, he's not the type of guy to deny them because it's easier to just let people believe. And so in doing so, though, he loses a piece of himself, and the town thinks badly of him because he's just letting people think whatever they want. But really, he is a good guy, and he does have a good heart, and he's always trying to help Haley. Gosh, he's just, he knows a lot about her and her family, and it's so hard because I try not to give too much away for the two of them. There's so many secrets and suspicions that can be revealed in the book. So, yeah, I just got a message from somebody to tell me to stop looking to the side when I'm videoing, and now I'm completely distracted. So no, Chris Charming, he's a very strong, very caring guy, even though he comes across as a troublemaker. No tattoos, unfortunately, though, Randy.
No, but he has a great name.
Yes, especially with the freaking. I love it. When she gets mad, she always calls him Christopher freaking Charming.
Well, to get away from the stories then, because we have a couple questions, Ryan would like to know about your writing process for the genres that you do write in, and what intrigues you about writing those type of stories that you do.
Brian has a question for me.
Both of you.
Okay, so what was the question again? Can you repeat it?
Question is, what is your writing process in the genres that you write in? Like for Krystal, what's your writing process for terror and horror? Okay. Randy, what is your writing process for paranormal? And what intrigues you about these genres that you do write in that makes you want to tell those type of stories?
Okay, so my writing process is very long. I actually write character arcs. So basically, I take a character and write their entire back history. So everybody who's going to be in the book, I write something about them. Whether their mother died when they were 3, I don't know. I write that down about them and what I kind of expect them to, how I expect them to change in the book itself. And then part of my process is to have my editor read over my character arcs to let me know if it makes sense, like if a character would act that way because of something. And then I outline. I outline sometimes in great detail, especially when it comes to a thriller or, you know, a mystery or something where there's going to be kind of a bad guy plot. I want to know exactly when everything is going to happen in the story, and so I outline in great detail sometimes, or sparing detail, just whatever I'm feeling as I'm shooting through, and it almost turns out to be a first draft. And then I also have my editor read over that as well, and then we kind of mesh up the character arcs with the outline to make sure it all works out and it makes sense. And then I go back and I actually start writing. So it's a long process sometimes. With each book I've written, it's actually taken a varied amount of time. I wrote Charming, though, in 2 weeks after outlining and doing character arcs. So because I felt so much into that story and just was really excited about it. So that is how that process worked. And then I'm doing something similar for the book I'm writing right now, which I have titled The Unraveling of Willard Hill. I'm doing the same. I haven't written as detailed character arcs, but I have written the outline, and some of it's just straight, this happens, this happens, this happens, and some of it's dialogue and pretty imagery and all of that stuff as well. But so mostly it's the same for every book I write, though.
And the character arcs are intriguing. I didn't realize you did that. I think that's I learned something new today. A lot of authors go into that kind of detail with their characters' backgrounds.
I have no idea. Yeah, I know that it works for me because I need to know people's intentions, because I think a lot of times, you know, you put a bad guy, but what makes the guy bad? I mean, he's not just bad to be bad. Something in his life or her life happened to make them bad, and I like to kind of work that out before I start writing them, because it actually helps me hide little tidbits and stories when I can do that, so I can put a little bit more in.
Yeah, nice. Randi, what about you? What's your writing process like?
It's very similar, actually. I start with the characters, and I also write character backgrounds, extremely detailed character backgrounds, where they're from, what they grew up like, eye color, hair color, and for the same exact reasons Krystal just said. It allows me to really get into their minds and give reasons for their behavior. So I've done that with all of mine. I write very loose outlines that I try to follow, and it doesn't always work out that way. For me, this was my first series that I had written, so it helped keep me focused on what I wanted to get out of each chapter, out of each dialogue element, out of each arc between the characters. But I loosely followed it, and then I just kind of wrote what felt comfortable and where I sort of thought they would go. For the entire series, I start out with an arc, so I know where each book is going. I know what's going to be in each book, you know, what each book will accomplish. But the in-between is completely kind of fly by the seat of your pants, or the characters sometimes dictate where the stories go. Sometimes they'll surprise me. Things that I wasn't planning on putting in the book will come up because of the characters, which is one of the reasons why I love, in my personal opinion, the paranormal genre. I think it's one of those genres that you can be really creative with and sort of take what your beliefs are and push them to the limits and try to get you to believe the unbelievable in a very normal, sort of strange way. So that's why I kind of love this genre and writing in it. But that's kind of my writing style. Sort of.
No, after Charming and Restraint, what is next for the two of you? What will be coming out next?
Coming out next or writing next? I'm not sure. I am, like I said, I'm outlining, well, actually, I just finished outlining The Unraveling of Willard Hill. And It's super secret. I don't even want to tell anybody what it's about because I love it so much, and I think it's awesome, and it's gonna blow everyone away. So I don't want to tell you too much about the story. But after I write it, the first draft, I really need to finish the first draft of Shattered Secrets 2, the follow-up to the first Shattered Secrets. And I was planning to publish it. CQ was planning to publish it in March of 2015, but they actually read the outline for Willard Hill and said they kind of want to publish it first. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure which one's actually next.
Randi?
So for me, I've got Redemption coming out. Redemption is the third book in the Revelation series. It will be out November 15th-ish. And then after that, there are 2 other books, and then there's 2 contemporary standalone romances that will come out, all in the new adult category.
So,
Yeah. Hey, Jackie, it looks like we have kind of a fun question in the queue that I'm dying to ask. So this is for both Krystal and Randi. Who would you win in a fight, Katniss or that girl from Divergent? We'll start with Krystal.
Oh my God, this is a hard question. I love them both. I'd have to say Katniss. I mean, look at all those people she killed, and Beatrice. Well, Tris was too broken by killing her friend to really fight anyone else seriously. So I'm gonna have to go with Katniss, and I know she was broken too. But I mean, look at what she did to President Snow, and then the replacement president. I think, yeah, hands down, Katniss. She would win in a fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Randi?
I don't know. Tris from Divergent, she can kick your ass with her fist. You know? She puts the effort in, man. She can kill. She can take you down. So I don't know. And she jumps out of trains. That's pretty awesome. I'm gonna vote for her because you voted for the other.
So it's a tie.
It's a total tie. Yeah.
Good question. Thank you, ladies.
okay, well then, to keep going with that vein, who would you want? Team PETA or Team 4?
Oh, I am totally Team PETA. No, wait. I'm Team 4. No, maybe I'm both.
Oh, I'm Team 4. Hands down, Team 4.
No. Is that because of who the actors are or because from the books?
I mean, it has absolutely nothing to do with Theo James, although I wouldn't mind if I was stuck somewhere, staring at him constantly. But, yeah, no, I just think 4 has it together. I mean, he's focused and strategic, and he's got that tattoo and the muscles. And
yeah, but that tattoo was kind of cheesy. You have to admit that tattoo was kind of cheesy. In the book, it was sexy. On TV, it was stupid.
Right, but his back was not cheesy. So that's cool. Yeah.
So with all these, what are you thinking about with all these movies coming out based on books? I mean, we've had Vampire Academy, we have Divergent, and we have The Giver coming out soon in the next couple of weeks. We have Outlander premiering Saturday. Are you happy seeing that more books are being turned into movies, or are you wondering if that's going to die down and Hollywood's going to come back with their manhandled scripts?
I don't think that it's going to stop anytime soon. I think books have always been adapted to film. I think we're seeing a different kind of book being adapted to film, which makes me really excited about the future. Hollywood will always repeat movies that it did in the past as well. It kind of recycles and regurgitates and then tries to recreate. I mean, look at Star Wars. A Star Wars movie is getting ready to come out, which I am both excited for and nervous about because, I mean, it's Star Wars. The first 3 were really awesome, and then the second set was like blah. So, I mean, that's Hollywood, though. I am very hopeful for my own book, Charming. I don't want to say too much, but I'm hopeful for its movie potentially in the future. Hopefully, I'll get a good fan base, and they'll all love it and read it, and then there will be no question about the movie. But I think it's awesome. Honestly, we should be watching what we read. That's what, every time I read a book, I'm like, I can't wait for this to be a movie. So I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree. I think they've always sort of taken movies and put them in, and I just think that I have to agree with Krystal. I think they're just taking a new approach to it, and they're really finding some interesting books within different genres to kind of go. So I think it'll keep going, and I'm excited to see it.
Then to bring it back to the books, what are some of your favorite fairy tale mashups from both of you? Krystal?
I just read, I always forget the names of books when I'm put on the spot like that. But I just read a book called Cruel Beauty, and it was a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and I thought it was incredible. It was basically a demon. A girl was basically sold to a demon who put like this mask over the sun in their little area, and they were all these people were trapped there. And her entire life was raised to believe she had to kill this guy. She had to marry him, but then she had to kill him. Her dad trained her entire life, like how to kill the beast. And then she meets him and she falls in love with him, and it's really truly the love that saves them both. And it was a great, I think it's my favorite retelling that I've ever read. It's called Cruel Beauty.
I'm so bad with this. Don't ask me these questions. I haven't read a book that was, I've been so busy writing and with my daughter and everything else I've had to do. I haven't read a book in, I feel like, 3 or 4 months. So I'm not qualified to answer the question.
What did you just say? You haven't read a book in 3 or 4 months?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Well, I mean, I read, Read and Lick by Kylie Scott, but that's the extent of my reading.
Oh no, I read books like until the wee hours of the morning and I'm passing out. I'm reading a really cool book called I Hunt Killers right now. It's a really awesome, like if you like books from a potential sociopath's point of view, you'd love it.
Oh, okay.
It's YA. Oh, I'm supposed to say that was my favorite retelling next to Charming. I was just corrected. Everybody's texting me and saying, right, Charming's the best retelling.
I agree. Charming is the best retelling. That's my vote.
Awesome, thank you.
Love
it. It really is.
With Charming, okay, so this is a question for Krystal. Jessica would like to know if you're going to write another book in the Darkness Falls series.
Oh, in the Darkness Falls series? Probably not, but there was an idea I had maybe a year ago. I was doing like little short story blogs for a group. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of this group's name that I blogged in once a week. And I came up with a little story idea about a girl who had to move out of Elysium, which, if Jessica remembers from the Darkness Falls books, was one of the other worlds. And she lived on Earth, and she was very, very angry about it. And I just wrote this short little story about this girl, and I thought, God, that would be really cool. But I don't know that I'm going to go and do that because I keep having all these mystery and thriller ideas pop into my head. So maybe sometime in the future, but not anytime soon.
Okay, and here's another question for both of you. What kind of research have you done for your individual books? Like for Charming, was there any certain torture techniques that you had to research, or for Randi, was there any kind of certain like paranormal that you had to get more information on before you could really delve into it?
I did some really creepy research for Charming. There's the basic research where I Google stalked the town of Deerfield, Massachusetts. So that's the typical research. I mapped out the town and found out the demographics and things of that nature. But then I had to do serial killer research. What makes serial killers kill? How do they do these types of things? What weapons do they use? And that was really creepy. I found this one article about the 10 most notorious serial killers, and it turned my stomach while reading it. And then there was, I did a lot of research on drugs, PCP in particular, and I found out some things that I'd never really wanted to know. PCP is an analgesic, and you don't feel pain, and you feel pretty indestructible while you're on it, and you think that everyone else is too. I read about a mother who boiled her baby in a pot of water on the stove because she thought her baby was indestructible, and I read about another man who was on PCP, and yes, exactly, that was exactly my point. And I read about another man who did PCP, and he went and decided to have his picture taken with a polar bear, and the polar bear mauled him. But these are the types of things that helped me build my serial killer, my killer, my sociopath, was finding out these things and just how you react to drugs and things when you're on them. And it was creepy. The 10 most notorious serial killers, don't ask me who they were because I can't remember the names. And then the drugs. It's not stuff I ever really wanted to know, but it was the research I had to do to make an authentic character.
Yeah, and I had to do the same. I had to sort of go back and with the type of supernatural protector that the St. Michaels are, go back and sort of research their background, what sort of elements I wanted to bring into the paranormal romance and into the Revelation series and sort of apply to them and give them a modern twist on. So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of architecture research. There was a lot of my story takes place in Massachusetts, but also in London and Wiltshire, the second one. So there was a lot of research on that. The centuries that the supernatural characters would be coming out of, names, that type of thing. Lots of research.
So, other than we were just recently talking about what books you've been reading. Is there a certain author, like in the horror genre or in the paranormal genre, that you are go to all the time, and you're like, I wish I could write, or not necessarily that you could wish you could write like that, because obviously you want to write like yourselves, but that you just enjoy the reading so much that there's times where you can't, like, I can't read this while I'm writing because who knows why. If that makes sense.
It sort of makes sense. I understood the first part of it. But there is an author that I will read anything she writes, anytime she puts it out, even though I don't always like her stories. I love her voice, and that's Maggie Stiefvater. Everything she writes, I want to read because her voice is just so, it's magical, if that's the best way to describe it. I get caught up in her words and her ability to tell a story. Even though I don't always like the story she tells, I still love the way she tells them. And so she's my go-to author. If I'm feeling down, I will go and read something Maggie Stiefvater.
She's one of my favorites. I absolutely love the things that she writes. I also, I love Amy Bartol. I love her Premonition series. It's one of my favorite things to go back and read and reread. I'm dying for book 5 to come out. And even her Cricket series was fantastic. So she, right now, is probably one of my favorites within the genre that I write.
Amy won a ton of awards at Utopia this year, too. It was like she just kept going on the stage, up and down and up and down, and just amazing. But I haven't read her yet, so I guess I'm going to have to.
She's great. It's just, she's very descriptive, and it's very, I'm someone who loves to world build and be extremely descriptive. So for me, an author who can offer me that within dialogue, within world building, within descriptions of characters, is super appealing. Yeah.
So, where can readers meet up with you? I know, Krystal, you're talking about going to the Baltimore Book Festival. I think I said that right. But where can readers find you coming up this fall?
I will also be at Bookmarks in, I believe it's Winston-Salem, North Carolina. That's early September. You can definitely catch up with all of my events on my website. I have an events page where you can see everything I'm planning to do. So even though I've probably forgotten half of my events, they're on there and I'm going. But yeah, I'm doing the bookmarks in North Carolina with author Ryan Hill, and I'm also doing the Baltimore Book Festival. I think that's September as well. And then I don't think I'm doing too many more live events this year, but I'm hoping to get down to Florida again next March for the Riverdale Literacy Festival like I did this year, which was amazing. So, but those are my 2 live events for the rest of this year, Baltimore and North Carolina. And you can always find me online, reading, chatting, just playing, goofing off, not writing.
Tweeting. I'll also be at the Baltimore Book Festival in September. I think it's the 28th.
Okay.
Correct. And also you can kind of look through the events page on the website and kind of see where I'll be. I'm doing some local author signings here in Massachusetts in the fall. And then in the spring, I'll be down in Florida and a couple other places. So I know they're on my site. I just can't recall off the top of my head right now where they are.
I think we lose Jackie.
All right, I'm just saying, I've been getting a little glitchy, so I'm making sure everyone stops talking before I say something. All right, well, is there anything you would like to tell readers? We're getting ready to wrap this up. Is there anything you would like to tell readers while you have a chance right now?
But besides the fact that I'm wearing pajamas from the waist down and a nice shirt from the waist up.
Aren't we all?
I think so. I hope so, at least. I can't be the only one.
I will let you. I will tell you you're not the only one, but I won't claim to be doing that.
You'll claim to be offended by my taste and
no, I will claim that I wish I was. How about that? Well, if that's it, I would like to thank Krystal Wade, author of the Darkness Falls series, which the 3rd book, Shatter, just recently released earlier this spring, and her upcoming novel, Charming, in October, and Randi Cooley Wilson. Yeah, Randi Cooley Wilson, author of the Revelation series with Restraint that just came out 7 days ago. So if you haven't gotten your book, you're not that far behind yet. Make sure you hit up Amazon for both these lovely ladies. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in and watching, and I'd like to thank you ladies for joining us tonight too.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Thanks for having us.
Yay, I'm glad it's been fun.